guys, the whole group and everything. So it's always good to listen to Canton. Actually, it reminded me of something. I'm going to talk about this WellSpa a little bit with you, but you know, getting this idea across in a big company like Nu Skin, sometimes it takes a little bit of an effort to convince other folks in the company to really develop it, because it takes money. And it's an idea I have for more than 20 years now, but it's just so happened we don't have all the different pieces of technology, science, and so on together. So it was not feasible for me to make this device together with a team. So it literally took 20 years. So I think I heard Elaine or Luella talking about, really, this is, I think most of you would understand the term, right? This is a sponsoring product. This is a big, big breakthrough. It's innovative enough that I think it's only one of its kind. And frankly, if Nu Skin hadn't decided to move this product into the marketplace, I think I would have asked them to sort of give it to me, and I'll go start another company. It's that good, Canton. I haven't talked to you, Canton. Yeah, I haven't talked to Canton. Yeah, but it's really that good. So it's really an incredible kind of thing. And we start a company, like Kenton mentioned to you in the morning or yesterday, we start a company that can actually spell. Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah. Anyway, empower me, you're going to hear this term a lot. And really, sort of maybe, when I look at WellSpa, this new device that we're going to launch, it's really about now making this whole concept actionable. It's really the first empower me device, because I think when you hear me speak about its benefits and so on, this is the first device ever that has integrated both the beauty benefits, the skin benefits, together with the wellness benefits inside the body. Yeah? So it's first of its kind, and two for the price of one, if you will. And Empower Me, if you look at this, is all about this integration, right? John, I think, has mentioned to you, I mean, we're moving along a trajectory where Nu Skin is going to be the leading beauty and wellness company. And seldom will you find another company where you can have two equally robust product lines. It's impossible. Can I mention names in Australia? Okay, I will mention it. What the hell, right? Yeah. So, Herbalife. Okay. It's really good in nutrition, right? I mean, I have a lot of respect for them for that, but they suck on the skincare side. They really don't have anything. And I have no idea what Amway does. Yeah. Yeah, because they sell everything, you know, pots and pans and so on and so forth. So they're very diversified, if you will, and maybe that's their business model. But nonetheless, in Nu Skin, by contrast, that's what we are. We're a beauty and wellness company. And now, finally, we've reached a point where we can actually integrate the two together. So, it's because the high science that we do, I mean, it's sort of like, we've done a lot of that, age log, science, 6S, and all these rather scientific terms you have heard over the years. But fundamentally, what they all did, they came together to form a really powerful and strong building blocks to take us to the next level. Yeah? So, and it's sort of interesting. I mean, when we talk about science, you've heard other scientists and so on. We have close to 75 scientists, obviously, in the company. So, here's one thing when you walk away today from this convention. If you don't like a product, yeah, I've always maintained that if you don't like a product, and some of you may not, okay? It's not my fault. It's theirs. It's those 75 scientists, okay? Now, you do like the product, it's all about me. You guys allow. But fundamentally, right? The message from that is that it's never about a person. Seriously, I'm standing here representing the whole team. It's nothing to do with me. Okay, I'm just a mouthpiece doing what we do. Because science is a discipline that you do and you just don't talk. And that's why we need a Center of Science scientists, and every product is really an output of their dedication and really the result of their incredible talent. So we have that. Now I'm going to take you through some science here a little bit. I'm hoping I'm going to tell you at a level that we can all appreciate. And it's about fluid movement in our bodies. There are two types of fluid in our body. All of us recognize we need blood. All of us recognize the blood circulates around the body. Okay? The rate sort of circulatory system in that diagram in part 2. How does it move? It moves very simply with a pump. And what's the pump? The pump is your heart. That's what it does. It pumps every second of the minute or every second of the time. If it stops, we die. It's that simple. And usually you call it a heart attack. Right? So it's a very efficient system to moving the blood around the body. Whether you're lying down, whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, it really doesn't matter because the blood is pumped by the heart. By contrast, there's actually another system that is really powerful. I actually think it's even more important than the blood circulation, and that's the lymphatic system. And that's the green stuff. That's all over the body, right? This is 3 times larger than your blood circulatory system. This system lacks a pump. It cannot pump. So, the only way the fluid that is being transported by this system, it has to move by muscle contraction. So, if your muscle doesn't work, or it's not contracting, the fluid doesn't move, and it stays. If you're standing up, for example, the fluid, the lymphatic, the lymph, if you will pull around your ankles. Just a visual. When you get on a 6-hour flight, Kenton and I eventually will be flying home, right? If we take our shoes off, if we don't wear some compression socks or whatever it is, invariably what happens is the fluid will pull in our feet, and we can't put our feet back into the shoes again, or with great difficulty. That's a sort of an example of the function of the lymphatic system. Because when you're sitting there for 6 hours on an airplane seat, the fluid doesn't move and it pulls, and that's what happened. And there are other conditions that will illustrate that as well. So we got to help this lymphatic system. So what does it do? Why do we have to move the fluid? What really does it do? It really is a system that, if you look upon it, it's really the system, the first step in the detoxification of the body. It collects all the dirty, toxic metabolites that is being sort of produced by the body. The body, by the way, is very efficient in producing toxic too. Because when we breathe and take in oxygen to drive our cells and live and function, not 100% of that oxygen is converted to energy. There are about 10-15% of it is actually results in the production of toxic substances. And other biochemical pathways will do the same thing. It's very similar to the car that we all drive. There's a reason why there are 2, I think we call them exhaust pipes. In the US we call them tailpipes, right? There's a reason why you have those tailpipes. And that's because they have to release and excrete, if you will, all the exhaust gases that are being produced alongside the energy to drive your car. Similar in the body. And the exhaust pipes or the tailpipes would be this lymphatic system. It transports all the toxins in the body. First step, finally and eventually sort of landing in the kidneys and they get excreted. Without that lymphatic system working really well, you actually over time, you actually is going to have serious consequences. A good example would be that look upon a person whose kidneys are not working, and what do? They go for dialysis. Have you ever stopped to think what dialysis does? It's really getting rid of the toxins. They'll be building up in the blood. So they take the blood out through an IV tubing, put it into a machine, and the machine purifies. Because the kidneys are not functioning, it purifies the blood. And then return it back into that person. And you have to do it 3 or 4 times a week in order to stay alive, right? So, the lymphatic system does that naturally in the body. It will get all the toxins together, delivers it to the kidney, and finally get excreted. That's really good. This is all about the purification. It's very simple, right? We don't think about it. We never even thought about the lymphatic system being that important. Because none of us, have you walked through the streets of Sydney? Why is that there's no rubbish on the streets? Because in the middle of the night, your sewage or trash collector, or rubbish collector, or whatever, they come around and collect all the rubbish. Most of the time, unless they're on strike. So. But nonetheless, that's how most cities, if not all the cities, are kept clean. Is because of the ability to remove that rubbish. It's similar. Our body is like a city. The lymphatic system would be the trash collector. Yeah? So, if you start to think, and I've already mentioned that movement of the lymphatic system is about a muscle. I'm just showing you a schematic, a cross-section of a leg. And the leg, that's why we walk. It's not a matter of just walking. The walking helps to move the lymphatic system because the muscle contracts and it squeezes the lymph vessels, if you will, and it moves the lymphatic. Lymph fluid has got to move up. It cannot stay down. That's where the reservoir is, and that's how the whole toxin collection system works. It goes to around the chest area. There are 2 lymph nodes there, and thereabouts, or lymph reservoirs, if you would like to think about it. And it then ultimately gets excreted that way. Got to move. It's not just, I mentioned the kidneys, but overall the lymphatic system declines with age. It gets slower. And that's what happens when you get slower. You notice the older folks tends to have a little bit more edema because the lymphatic system is not working that well. So there's another factor, if you will, that will contribute to a dysfunctional lymphatic system. But importantly for all of us, it's really about the lifestyle. Generally, we have become sort of couch potatoes. We sort of sit on the couch and we watch television and we don't move. And that's what happened. That has a negative impact on the lymphatic system. Similarly, we go to the office and we sit behind the desk in front of a computer, and that's what we do all day, right? Very little activity, and that becomes a challenge. It impacts and contributes overall to our lymphatic system not being efficient. So when you think about it, overall, when I bring it all together, we're talking about restoring a balance in the body. Right? This is what we're trying to do. It's not about a particular disease and so on. It's about making sure that we have equilibrium in the body, because balance is important. I mean, the Asians would call it by some other names, they would talk about chi and all these other stuff, if you will, right? That's a philosophical approach. But what trying we do in Nu Skin is the fact that we're all scientists and so on, is to see whether we can extract what they need and not just translate literally, but to be able to interpret what that means. That's what we do with most of our products. So for this balancing outcome or focus that we have, is really about having a holistic approach. And the device delivers that, because when we look at the skin, up to this point, most of our devices are very much focused on making you look gorgeous, right? It's all about the skin. But we have been thinking the skin is part of the body. When you do something on the skin, perhaps there's something we can do, or it can, the benefits that we get, something is being transmitted, or something is being affected also below the skin. So it's about this balancing. And I think we are beginning to reach that. And so when we started on this journey with this device, it's really about, first of all, we want to make sure that we have a design that's comfortable and that is ergonomic. In other words, it's functionally, when you use it, it's something that you can actually be in constant contact with the skin. All right, because the skin is not absolutely even. This device is able to achieve that. Those metallic nodes that you see, the bottom bit, right? I call them the lymphatic nodes, but the lawyers say no, so whatever. Did I tell you the joke about the lawyers, Kenton? You want to hear that? So we all try to go to college or whatever, and we think we're really clever, right? That reminds me, because Kenton was talking about that. So you go in, and the first thing you do is sort of like, I'm so good, I will go and do mathematics. You know, that's the degree I want. The first lecture you go to, you sort of like, boy, I can't do that. Then the next day you go and try to do physics. There's some math in there, maybe the physics is not that difficult, I can become a physics major. You try that, one lecture, and you still suck, right? You couldn't do it. So you say, okay, fine, I'll go and do chemistry, no math there. And then you still can't do chemistry, you do biology. Right? And then biology, when you go in and you still say, whoa, this is really tough, then you go to medical school. Right? Yeah. And first time in medical school, when you see a dead body, you say, I can't do that. Then you go and become a lawyer. So now I'm what I would call an equal opportunity offender. I've offended everybody here. It's hysterical. I told that to Truman. I know, but Truman didn't like that joke too much. Anyway, so where was I? Okay, lymphatic nodes and all that. So this engineering has been designed to be maximally be in contact with the skin, and actually when you rub it, even when you lift it, it can sense it, and it will sort of make sure the power that is being delivered is constant. Yeah? That's the value of that IoT, because we've built sensors inside the device that monitors that contact 150 times per second. That's what makes it, because we want to make sure the power, the electrical technology that we have, this is not a galvanic current, this is an entirely different one that stays at the effective range. That's what we have. So let me play you a video. This is our teaser video, I believe. Yeah. Okay, I think you could get a lot of training on how to use this. It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science. It makes a noise if you're not using it properly, you know, and all the other things. But there are certain things you have to learn how to use it. So, what does it deliver, this device? Fundamentally, I think I'll take all the benefits together. Remember, this is a WellSpa, and it's going to be used throughout the body. So, it's really suitable, whichever part of the body that you would like to focus on, it's fine. It's not an issue. It's not a facial spa, right? This is all about the whole body. And what does it do? Depending on the location of the body and your level of interest, it really does three things. I call them the 3R benefits, right? It could restore the body, it could help you to recover the body, and then finally, it could help to revitalize or rejuvenate the body. The revitalized element, the third R, if you will, is mainly focused on the skin. Yeah, it still delivers a skin benefit, but I'm truly much more excited about the other two R's, the recovering of the body and the restoration of the body, because this is what it is. I think this is the first time ever that this is a device that every person, this is a unisex device, should use it after an exercise. They should have it in their gym bag. Okay? There is no, because in reality, when you talk about a galvanic spa and so on, typically it's more sort of focused on the female gender, right? Yeah, the guys are just too proud to use it. They think they're already handsome enough. They never really look at a galvanic spa. But I think this particular one, after exercise, before exercise, the mere fact that this will actually physically massage and physically deliver an electrical current that can actually stimulate the muscle and relax the muscle, I think it has a really significant benefit for those folks as well. So that's what it is. So the restoration, as I mentioned, is about the inner beauty, not the inner beauty, the inner wellness. Similar, the revitalize is about the skin, and then rejuvenate is about really helping you to recover quickly. Right, the reason why I believe these benefits will actually happen is because just at the simplest level, when you look at an athlete, what do you see? Before or even after that particular event, that athlete will go for a massage, right? I mean, it happens all the time. Why does it happen and why does he want to do that? It's because the muscle has been exercised and it needs to get rid of all the toxic metabolite in those instances would be lactic acid. And that's what you be able to do with this particular device, is to help you recover. So those are the three technologies we have in the device. The first one is the design. I already mentioned to you, it's a patent pending one. Look, there is a huge knob in there. And that means, right, we learned from our previous device design, so you're unlikely to drop it as much. Because remember, there's a gel involved. I'm going to tell you, because invariably to conduct current, you need to have a liquid to be in contact with the skin, right? So with the previous designs and all, we always find one of the things is you drop it, and then you return it to the company and say it's broken. And you never tell us why it's broken. You just say it's broken. Poor product quality. Yeah, you laugh. That sounds like a nervous laugh to me. Yeah. Anyway, however, so this one, I want to make sure you've got a grip. You've got less excuse to say, I drop it. Because we want you to use this in the shower as well. Okay? So you can actually use this in the shower. So the design is all patent pending. Those things, those nodes at the bottom, metallic nodes, I already mentioned you the functionality of those of that particular design. So it's patent pending. The microcurrent. Don't ever think this is the same as the galvanic spa or the body spa or whatever. It's not, because the current is totally different. I already gave you a big difference. We have been able now, first time in the device, that is able to keep the current in the effective range without it going all over the place. All right? And secondly, this particular current has nothing to do with so-called polarity, negative, positive charge. It's essentially designed to prime the pores. In other words, open up the pores so that our active gels, those gels that we have, those ingredients will go and penetrate into the skin. Yeah? So, and that's what it does. So these formulations that we have, these are really fancy ingredients. We have the fancy Latin names. I won't even attempt to try to really pronounce those names. But I think I've listed the major benefit. Like for example, first ingredient, it releases a particular substance that brings a sense of well-being in the body. And that's beta endorphins. Yeah? Science has known for many, many years now that every time, that's why marathon runners run, by the way. And that's why cyclists keep on cycling. Because if they stop, they don't get this endorphin fix, I call it. And they don't feel good, apart from all the other aerobic benefits that they get. So this endorphin really gives you a sense of relaxation and well-being. And this particular ingredient, when we drive it in, will actually stimulate the release of that. And then there's another ingredient that will help the lymph vessels to proliferate. It's sort of like maintain and preserve a great network. All those little lymph vessels that go into the tissue that collect all the toxic metabolites. Yeah. And then finally, the third one is about making sure the cells, are properly sort of energized so that you can actually function. And those are the four gels we have. But I just want to sort of focus on the two tall ones. Is it the two tall ones? Yeah, the blue one and maybe, yeah, there's a two and a white one. So there's an activating gel that has those ingredients I talked about, and then there's another one, there's the body serum. Yeah? So using these gels with the spa will actually prime your skin to give you more benefits, even from other products that don't require the use of the device in your skin. So, some pictures. So here's a thigh, showing on the left, cellulite, and then on the right is after a few weeks of using the device. I think you would agree, it looks a bit smoother. And this is in a clinical study. Here's an arm. The top one is before using the device, and then the bottom one is after using the device for 12 weeks. And I think you can see there's a big difference in the circumference of the upper arm. Now, all these things, right, I've mentioned to you, I've hinted, and haven't really directly addressed it, is that depending on the location where you wish to use the device, there is a certain direction that you need to use it to be effective. Like for example, in your legs, you got to drive up. You're not going to drive down, okay? Around the arm areas, you're most likely going to use a more circular motion. So all these things are going to be in this particular app, the Vera app, and there's a WellSpa section to it, and it will show you all the different areas and how you should be using the device. And then it's almost like a learning tool over time. And then, it will tell you how often you use it, have you been using it effectively, and so on, and give you a score that you can track over time. So, lots of features with this Vera WellSpa app, and you should be getting it on your smartphone when we launch the WellSpa as well. Okay. So, it's just not a beauty device, like I say. Never think that this is a beauty device. It's an integrated device. It's just so happened to have skin benefits as well. That's likely a different shift in your mindset, okay? Nobody has this particular device. Nobody has actually brought out a device that has this dual benefits and deliver it with one application. And you can do that on every part of the body. So, really, I think this is pretty magical. Okay, one last thought for all of you. You have TRME. We have also learned from the TRME, during the loss or during the reduction of the fat tissue, the fat that's being released has to go somewhere. And that somewhere it goes is actually through the use of the lymphatic system. So can you imagine now the converging point or the point, the phase that is being related and logical, connected to both sides of these products, is that the device also uses the lymphatic system. It makes it more efficient. So naturally, I think simple logic will tell you that the fat tissue, having a more lymphatic, more efficient lymphatic system, will get transported out much quicker. I think that's what's happening during some of the slides I show you on the cellulite, because after all, cellulite is about fat under the skin. And you can smooth that out. It's because we have smoothed out the fat tissue below the skin. It's not really about the skin. It's not a skin issue. So when you do that, again, you know, the device can do that. I think we have some circumstantial evidence to suggest that we can actually transport the fat out. So it's a pretty good companion to the whole thing, right? This is where it sort of comes together and is integrating weight management system with a device together. Makes sense. It's not a force fit. It's not something that you throw together in a kit. It's actually one will sort of facilitate the other and vice versa. So that's briefly what we have. I believe John, right? We're going to, is John Hobby here? No, he's gone. Anyway, I think we're going to launch this in September. Is that right? Yeah. So it's a preview and so on?
Yes.
So I've given you an idea. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the voice of God.
Yes.
Yeah, here we go. John's here. Yeah, that's good. In September, right? Yeah. So that's great. So thank you. Hopefully it'll give you an idea why I'm so excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, can we give it up for Joe Chang?
Thank you.